Hello everybody, welcome to the Python course. In the previous part, we have started with module 8, that is OOPS programming, and in that module we have covered the classes and the objects, what are class methods, class variables, static methods and instant variables. Now in this part we will cover the lambda function. We will cover how we can create a lambda function, how we can do the various operations such as filter and reduce on it, right? So let's get started. I have already opened up my Anaconda navigator and made a Jupyter notebook named module 8, that is lambda, right? So let us see how lambda works. Okay, so lambda function is a small anonymous function which returns an object. The object returned by lambda is usually assigned to a variable or it is used as a part of the bigger functions, right? So basically we can write our normal convention of def keyword and declare that functions or write the functionality in this traditional function methods we are using. But in some cases we need some lambda functions to operate on a list or a iterable, so that's why we are using the lambda function, and the difference is that it starts with the lambda keyword. The traditional function starts with your def keyword and here it starts with the lambda keyword. So as I already told you, it begins with the lambda keyword and followed by the arguments. So these arguments could be single argument or a multiple argument separated via comma. Then we have the colon followed by the expression, and this expression which always returns a object, right? So this is kind of a condition or some evaluation in which we are returning that object. So let us try to see and compare the function as well as the lambda function. In the traditional function we have a def keyword followed by the function name and the arguments, and in the return statement we are returning the square of that function, square of the x, right? So we print doubler, that is 2, it will return 4, it will, if we pass 5 as argument, so it will return 10, right? So this is pretty much straightforward. But in the case of lambda, so it also works in the similar fashion. Instead of having the def keyword we have lambda, right? So we don't have any name because it is anonymous, and the arguments is x, and the return statement we don't have a return keyword, and after colon whatever we pass, that is be returned into this doubler, right? So this is basically a variable, and whatever this function is returning, we are catching it in this variable, right? So this works as a similar in case of your normal function. So let's see this in practice. So we have the normal function. Suppose I create a function named mysum, or okay, my square I will take. So return x into 2, right, or x into x I will say, right? So this is also works fine. So I wanted to calculate the square of any number, so let's say I'll take a square of 7, so it will yield me 49. So this is our normal function. So the same thing could be done by using your lambda followed by your x. So this is your argument followed by your return statement, that is x into x, and the result will try to capture it, right? And if we pass the result as 7, so it will give us 49, right? So this is how your normal function and your lambda function works. Then we can also send as many arguments as we like in the lambda function, just separate them with the comma. That arguments has to be separated via comma, right? For example, we wanted to add these 3 numbers, so we have passed 3 arguments, that is x comma y comma z, and by adding these 3 numbers we get the result as 17. Similarly, right, if we wanted to multiply 2 numbers, so x into y, so we pass 2 arguments and we get a result, right? So we take a lambda, we pass it x and y, and here in the return statement we say x into y, right? So we pass a result equal to, and then we pass 4 and 5, so the result is 20, right? So we have passed multiple arguments to our lambda function. Then we could also specify the default arguments, right? So this we have already seen when we were doing the functions lecture. So if you don't pass anything to our argument, then it will take the default arguments, and if we pass it some kind of values, and that value gets overridden, right? So let us try to see in this example itself only. So if I try to say that y is my constant at 5, and if I don't pass anything, the result would be similar as 20. And if I say my y is 4, right? So now 5 y has been replaced with 4. Now it will result in 4 into 4, that is 16, right? So this way it works. Now lambda could also return a multiple values, right? But that values has to be contained in a tuple. We need to explicitly pack into a tuple, but in the case of your normal function, that has like we don't need to pack into a tuple, because it itself it will return the tuple, right? So we need to uh, give the square brackets, sorry, round brackets, to make it a tuple, and then likewise we could return multiple values from our lambda function. So let us try to see this in practice. So for example, we have our lambda function lambda x, right? And here we wanted to find the cube root or multiplied by 2 comma multiplied by 3, and we need to pass it into a tuple, right? Right. So now we got two values, that 8 into 4 into 2 is 8, and 4 into 3 is 12, right? So this is how we could return multiple values from a lambda, but that values must be contained inside your tuple, right? So this thing we need to keep in mind. Also, we could have our if else statement or a condition inside our lambda return part, right? For example, we wanted to find the minimum value between two variables or two integers. So we could write expression that if x is less than y, so return x, else return y, right? So this could be done. So I'll say lambda x comma y return x if x is less than y, else return me y, right? And in the result I would say 5 comma 2, it will result me 2, right? Whichever is lower, it will result me 2, lesser value. So this is how our if else statement can exist in our lambda function, right? Then we have the filter option. Here in this part we wanted to filter out some of the values inside our iterable, right? For example, this is our list. Here consists of some of the ages of the employees. So we wanted to filter out the employees whose age is greater than 18. That could be done by using our filter method. Filter, we have the lambda and we have the iterable, that is age, right? So this could be easily be done, right? Suppose I'll take a age variable, age list, and I would say then I would say lambda x, if x is greater than 10, let's suppose, right, and that has to be passed inside your filter method, right, separated by a comma. We need to pass the iterable also, right? Okay, so now this filter has returned me a location. So in order to convert this, we need to convert into a list so that we could get the result in the desired format. And now you can see that we have filtered it accordingly and then converted into a list so that we could see the results, right? So this is how your filter method works with your lambda, right? Then we have your reduce also. So reduce is another Python function. It applies to rolling calculation to all the items in a list, right? So we can also calculate the sum or total or multiply for all the numbers together, right? So I have tried taking the inbuilt reduce from func tools, right? So let us try to see this. So right, so first of all we need to declare some, either we could also write a here lambda function and then pass iterable as we have currently done, or we could directly define a function and then pass it into reduce method, right? So let us try to see both ways. First of all I need to import the reduce method. So from func tools import reduce, right? Then we create a list, that is list1 equal to, so I need to find the sum of all these values, right? So I'll take a lambda function, then x equal to x plus y, right, and here followed by your list, right? So here you can see that it has given me sum of all the values inside this list. So it works on complete values of the values which are present in your iterable, right? So this is how your reduce function will work. So instead of trying this lambda function, we can also write our own function and pass it here. Suppose in this part I write sum, I say my sum and pass two variables x and y, and then return x plus y. So here also it will give me the same results as we have seen earlier. So either you define a lambda function or you define your function, so it works exactly the same, right? Okay, so now we'll cover the additional topic, that is map. So map also works in the similar fashion. It applies a given function to all the iterables and return a new list, right? So this is map followed by your function, that is lambda, or your user defined function could also be written inside this comma, and then you define your iterable, right? So here 1 2 3 4 are the elements of the list, and we are trying to sum the each and every elements of the list by 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 4 plus 3 is 7. So this is how your map function will work. So let us try to see this also, right? So we have a map and followed by your lambda x equal to x plus 3 followed by your list 1. So I'm taking this list also only. So what is here we trying to do is we are trying to add 3 to each and every elements of the list, right? So this will also result me in a memory location, right? So we need to, or because this is a function, right, so need to apply a transformation to list so that it will give me the values contained inside your list, right? So this is how your map function will also work. Okay, so your module 8 has been completed, and now stay tuned for the next video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.